Hello and welcome to Thursday. My name is Katie and I'm with your co-host Ashley. We are not therapy, but we are a fun time. And today we are covering the song Illicit Affairs from the Folklore album. And Ashley, you chose this song. So, can you tell us a little bit about what made you select this song?
Yes. I didn't want to select this song. As you know, I really went back and forth about it. But it just seems like the best option for us to discuss as counselors. In terms of like the other songs that we had chosen, I was really excited about those. And then it felt like of the ones that were left, this was the clear option. So no, I didn't really want to do this song, but but
I take it.
I think yeah, it'll be a good discussion, I think.
Excellent. I agree. I think it really will be. Yeah, so for our listeners who may not be super familiar with the song, it does revolve around the topic of infidelity and cheating. And if that is a topic that you feel sensitive to and could be painful, then this might be an episode you're going to want to skip. What I will provide is just like a an overview of the song. So the song is a narrative, and most likely from one perspective of somebody who's engaged in an affair and their experience of it. That is kind of the traditional interpretation of the song, but there are many interpretations online, and some of them are quite clever. So if you're curious, feel free and Google that. But it's written in the context of a romantic, like, type of affair. But it could also be used as a metaphor for any kind of situation that you find yourself in that's gradually getting worse over time. So there's like drug metaphor in the song, and it could easily be that. It could be toxic dynamics in a relationship, whatever relationship that may be, whether it's romantic or non. It could also, very aptly fit for relationships that are considered unacceptable by society or even by legal standards during certain times of our country's history or in other parts of the world, like queer relationships or interracial marriages, things like that. Um, so the song, in my opinion, does appear to be written in a self-reflection kind of way. Just the words are all in past tense. Um, so that is going to be the interpretation that we're likely going to be coming from today, but we wanted to give an overview as to the different ways it could be interpreted. So, Ashley, anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, the only thing that I had written down before you and I even discussed that overview is could the illicit affair be the fact that she's in a relationship as a famous person? Like with
That's,
Taylor's level of
yeah.
fame, I know she's talked about like having to be in disguise or like walking backwards or putting like umbrellas over her or I mean I think
Mhm.
there's hints throughout the song like don't wear this perfume so you don't like show. I don't remember the exact lyrics, but leaving the
Yeah.
perfume on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
So that there's no sign that you were there. I think that that's maybe a little bit more intimate than that idea of a famous person like trying to just do a normal life. But it was something that I had written down. So,
Yeah. That's clever. That could definitely be interpreted that way. Well, Ashley, I am super excited to hear what lyrics you'll be discussing today.
yeah, so we have different sections of the song. But one of the lyrics I really wanted to highlight, it's born from just a single glance, but it dies. And she says that three times. It dies, it dies, it dies a million little times. And then later on in the
Hmm.
song, she says, it lies, it lies, it lies a million little times. Um, and then later, she says, for you, I would ruin myself a million little times.
Oh, that's a very, very astute observation.
Yeah, and it reminds me of like death from a thousand cuts, right? Like it's just like all of these like little like pieces of hope or little pieces of despair maybe or disappointment and confusion even could be. Um
Yeah,
yeah.
that is such a good point. Okay. Well, now we know your lyrics. What questions would you ask this person, Ashley?
Yeah, so in the song she says, "Leave no trace behind." Why was this worth making yourself small?
Oh, wow. What a tender but like piercing question.
Yeah, and I don't, as I say it out loud, it has the potential to sound judgmental, like that question, why? But I genuinely want to know, like, what was it about this that made it feel worthwhile to shrink these parts of yourself or like hide or, like there must have been something that was like beneficial enough to do that for. I want to
Yeah.
know what that something was.
Yeah, what made it worth it? That's such a good question.
Hmm. And another one was, what was the hope that kept you going back?
Mm, such a good question. Anything else?
Well, just I guess as I'm saying that, like also what has the cost been, right?
Yeah.
Like we've it seems like there's been at times a significant cost. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And a cost that's like kind of compounded. It's not just like at time, but it's like layer after layer after layer, kind of like that, illusion you made to death by a thousand cuts. It's not one wouldn't be enough to die, but a thousand of them creates a mortal wound.
hmm hmm.
Yeah, that's really good questions. Is there anything that you would normalize or validate for this person?
Yeah, two things. Being wanted is a great feeling, right? To be desired
Mhm.
in any way can feel like it's meeting a need. Um, and it conversely is a terrible feeling not to be prioritized.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So what you're really validating is like this underlying emotional need, right? To like maybe to be prioritized, to be seen, to be wanted, like, and you're getting this need met. So kind of seeing beyond just the behavior, but to the motivation of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so good. Anything that you might challenge?
Yeah, I really just had one question. How did we get here?
Hmm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
why was this the path that met those needs? Were there other paths as options?
Hmm.
Were there not? How did we get here?
Yeah. Because there's like a reference in the song to like take the road less traveled by, right? Which is like, in the context of the song is like go somewhere where like less people are, where you're less likely to be seen. But then it's also this allusion to like Robert Frost's poem, right? The road less traveled, and like also talking about like taking this path that not many do necessarily. So like there's almost like this double entendre there that I hear you referencing.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Any other challenges?
No.
What recommendations might you provide?
I would recommend considering where your worth comes from. Where does your
Mm,
self-worth come from?
can you tell me a little bit about how you arrived at that question?
Going back to the emotional needs that we were kind of referencing, do we find our worth in the uh, I don't love the word attention here, in the validation from others?
Hmm.
Do we find our worth in only if all of our emotional needs are met and I will do anything to get that met,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and maybe that goes along with like self-respect.
Hmm.
Um, I want to recognize too the complexities of situations that can happen, right? Like you did at the beginning of the episode. I mean that
Yeah.
it's not entirely clear,
Hmm.
but I do think it's important to consider like, am I finding my worth in this relationship or am I finding my worth in this, I don't know, addiction, in this something else? Where is that coming from?
Yeah. Like how, like what part of your worth is it maybe validating, or is it getting you connected with, or is it making you feel it in some way, or maybe other people are like validating it in this and there's some kind of pressure, belonging, like all kinds of questions like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like therapy journey, right? Not session one.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's such a good point because like we're talking about this not as a single session, but like as like a many, 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 many sessions of like conversations around this.
Once rapport and trust and connection and comfort
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah. Yes. 1,000%. Yes. Yes. Psychological safety is a
Yes.
priority.
Yes.
That's where healing can
Yes.
start. Yes. Yes. Are there any recommendations that come to mind for this person?
That was my recommendation. Just consider where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then any encouragement you would offer.
You are worth someone's full attention.
Oh, that's so tender.
Sometimes people will say things like, I deserve better than that person. I
Hmm.
don't prefer that language. I think the word deserve, um, it comes with certain connotations to me that like there's, I don't know. I don't know that we deserve a whole lot. And when
Mm.
we're talking about another person, like do they also deserve something different? Like where is that word
Yeah.
deserve coming from? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
pe
Yeah.
people are whole people.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to normalize like abuse situations here. Like
Of course.
people should be respected, absolutely. But I sometimes hear like this isn't an actual example, but just like a made up example of like he didn't buy me flowers. I deserve better than that.
Ah, yeah.
And that just feels a little like
Hmm.
let's walk that back a little, right?
Yeah.
Um, but when I'm thinking about this encouragement of like you are worth someone's full attention, the
Yeah.
idea of somebody caring about you and acknowledging you for your full
Hmm.
self, for your
Yeah.
entire being,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
love.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
make mistakes, when you know, are busy,
Hmm.
when you're giving all you have, when all you have isn't much,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's love. And I think that someone going back to like saying that like this person might be making themselves a little bit smaller, like shrinking themselves to kind of like fit in to this like
Hmm.
small space that's allowed.
Hmm.
I guess I just go back to like, could there be a situation where you're fully accepted and loved for who you are?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like in this like context, you're getting such like it's like it's eroding, right? Like what you have with this person is getting smaller and smaller over time. And what you're saying is like you're worth all of it, right? Not just a part of it. And so like you've been grasping after this thing and it's crumbling in your hands and like you want the whole and you deserve the whole because you're a whole person, right? Not to like downplay or, dismiss the other person whatsoever, but just to say that like you as a person deserve wholeness.
Yeah, except I really do struggle with that word deserve. Like, and maybe it's just a
Oh,
me
sorry.
thing, but like,
Okay, so what would be a better word for that?
no, 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 that's okay. I think when I hear that word, I think I'm owed that.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm owed anything from someone else just for
Okay.
existing. Is that making sense?
Yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
don't feel like I kind of the subtext of what I hear you saying is like you don't feel
Yeah.
Is that a good word for it? Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think. and maybe that's just like an Ashley thing of like the word deserve comes with like a sense of entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I all the disclaimers in the world, right? Like not a people deserve a certain level of respect. But like I don't think that I just automatically deserve somebody's entire time, all of their money, right? That
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Like that does
Sure.
feel like entitlement to me.
Sure.
But what if we were to view it as like equals? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what if we were just two people coming together, accepting each other for what we have and who we are?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that
Kind of
making sense?
meeting on a similar plane, like
Hmm.
both of us giving what is reasonable to give to the other person.
Yeah.
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 Makes sense.
So, Katie, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this song. What
Yeah.
lyrics would you be
Um,
referencing?
yeah, exactly. I'll share some lyrics. So a few that I'll be discussing are look at this godforsaken mess that you made me. You taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. And that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares. It's born from just one single glance. They show their truth one single time, but they lie, and they lie. You tell yourself you can always stop and take the words for what they are, a dwindling mercurial high, a drug that only worked the first few hundred times. So, hopefully that gives a picture of some of the imagery that's being used in this song. So, some of the questions that I have, it's kind of similar to yours, Ashley, which is what have you gained in this relationship and what have you lost? You are addressing both in this song, things that you have gained and things that you have lost. So, like, this is a push-pull tension throughout this entire song. And I'm really curious about the secret language that you learned. What do you find compelling about this relationship that you would quote unquote ruin yourself for? And you reference like the words that are spoken, like like the kid, the baby, like there's almost like there's like this tender, sweet language that can get used, right, in romantic relationships. And they start out really sweet, and you end the song like angry. And if our listeners have been to the Eras Tour or like listened to the Eras Tour version of songs, the way the song is like recorded on folklore is like very tame, and then the version that she sings on the Eras Tour is like the angry version where she's like, "Don't call me kid, don't call me baby." Like she is like so furious, and it's a great energy that she brings. So I'm kind of channeling a little bit of that, and I'm curious, like why? What about that makes you angry? Like where's that anger coming from? What is that anger there to say? And the reason I frame it that way is because I think our emotions give us messages, right? They're telling us something that we need to hear. So your anger is telling you something. What is your anger expressing here? Because
Absolutely.
underneath anger is usually like some form of grief, some form of sadness, usually resides beneath that. And so that's that push pull that I think I'm hearing. And so, like, as a therapist, I would really want to dig into like the tension of this relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you put that. And I love that
What?
you addressed like the anger aspect because there is like a level of like maybe even patronization in those lyrics of like, don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Like, who
Mhm.
knows what that other side is saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
gosh, yeah,
Yeah. Because like I'm glad that you brought that up, Ashley, because like to me, like baby is a very sweet, like it's not it could be infantilizing, but I think in larger culture, like that is kind of acknowledged as a term of affection. But the term kid to me feels mixed.
it
Like
is
that does
mixed.
not it does not feel like as universally like acknowledged as being like sweet. It does feel like it could be infantilizing.
It seems like don't call me less than you and don't get affectionate with me.
Yeah. 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 All the while contrasted with like, I would ruin myself for you and you know it. Like you've cast this
Yeah,
spell on me. So like again, like there's this push-pull of like, don't do this. Also, I'm ruined for you and I would keep ruining myself for you. So like there's just this is like a very tumultuous relationship here.
it is. It is. Anything that you would validate about this?
You say that you tell yourself you can always stop. And I just want to validate how easy it is to self-deceive.
You don't believe them.
Yeah, like we do. We can justify things that if somebody else said it, we'd be like BS. We could instantly call it for the crap that it is. But like when we want something to be true, we can completely and totally convince ourselves of that. And I just want to normalize that like even if somebody else would judge this, even if somebody could get clarity being on the outside, I get that on the inside, experiencing it, you may not see it clearly and it may not feel true for you, or it feels very true for you. Either way, but um, I just want to validate that. And then I would ask questions, right? Like, what part of you believed this? What part of you wanted this to be true? Like, how did that process of self-deception work for you? And like, why did you need the promise and the reassurance that you could stop? Because that already feels like that feels foreboding. Like that's kind of like that. What's that foreshadowing that that gets used in narrative of like this is a clue of like what's coming, and it's like when you're telling yourself at the beginning I can stop any time. That's foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a bit that's probably the main thing that I would validate.
Okay. Okay. It seems like a little bit of a challenge too. Anything else that you would challenge?
Yeah, I would actually. So you say, look at this godforsaken mess that you have made me. But I wonder if you've paused to reflect on your role in creating this mess. Yes, like clearly this person has done things that have made you feel like a broken mess. And like, yeah, they have contributed in creating those feelings for you. And are you open to looking at how you've allowed access for that or how you've participated in that dynamic? And I really want to challenge the phrase that like these clandestine meetings and stolen, longing, stolen stares, that they're born from a single glance. Like, no. That's a hard no for me.
Thanks for coming in today. No.
No, that's a simple answer. Like, sure, is that where the spark happened? Yes. But like a spark by itself will die. But a spark in a dry desert, you know, that'll catch fire, right? So like we have to look at the context. And I think you did a brilliant job of addressing this, Ashley, when you're like, okay, how did we get here? And that's exactly what I'm challenging. Like this idea that like this spark just came out of nowhere and it was magical and like, oh, it swept us up. Like, no, there was fertile ground. There was a context for that glance to go from something small to something much bigger. And we have to evaluate that context. And I want to say this with so much tenderness that
Hmm.
affairs are a complex topic. There are very different reasons for why they happen. And we also have to acknowledge that an affair doesn't happen out of the blue. Like, I think Dr. Perel and a few other like affair experts talk about how, affairs are symptoms of what's missing in a relationship. Like, you've gone to go look for something that's not there. You're trying to meet this need. And that's, I think, what we need to evaluate, right? Was like you asked, how did we get here? What was the story that was happening long before that glance that ended in this situation? It can be a painful thing to do, especially if you're the betrayed in that scenario, which the song does not address all, and that's fine, but it's very necessary to do.
Yeah. Can I ask a little bit more? I feel like that's a common thing to believe, and sometimes it's true. that like there's something missing. What should somebody do when something's missing from a relationship?
Oh, that's like a really good question. Um, if you're feeling like an unmet need in a relationship, I think that not knowing what the specific need is, let's be honest about it and name it first for what it is. Sometimes naming things can be really painful, but important to do. Like, I'm not feeling connection, or I'm not feeling attraction, or that's changed, or I'm not fill in the blank, whatever the thing may be. But I think naming it is a good place to start. And then kind of like processing either with yourself, with a mental health professional, with a friend, with somebody trusted in your life, like maybe even with the person that's involved in the context of where you feel that feeling. Um, this is what you're feeling. Is this something that I need to like take ownership? Like where is it like I need to make some changes here? Where can the other person be involved in making those changes? Um, and sometimes those changes are possible to make, and sometimes they're not as much. So I think it's just very depends. It's very context dependent. Did that answer your question, or were you coming up from a different direction, or what did you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to spend I wanted to sit on this topic just for a little bit here because I think sometimes the people who have been betrayed hear that line of there was something missing in the relationship and they feel blame.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's their fault.
Correct. Yes, I'm so glad you're naming that because we are 100% on the same page there. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure to be really clear about that piece.
Yes, very clear. And I think like you're highlighting the complexity of like affairs and cheating and infidelity because it is not something that we are ever blaming. It's more like we're just trying to excavate layers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's look at the foundation, right? We're not blaming here, and we're also not asking a betrayed person to ever take responsibility for someone else's choices.
Mm-hmm.
Are asking is like, let's be detectives, right? Like, let's be super sleuths. Let's get in there and like really try and figure out the story. We're not here to point fingers, but we are here to gain clarity because something at some point, right, went off the rails and we need to know where that was so we can fix it. It's not to blame and it's not to make you take accountability for choices that were not yours. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to say that sometimes there are patterns that begin long before a relationship starts, and that we aren't whole people when we're in relationships with others. We are whole people just because we're people.
Yeah.
So,
The
kind of
relationship does not
going
create the wholeness. Yeah.
right. The I don't like the terms of like my other half. Like I'm a whole
Yeah.
person without another one, right?
Yes. Yes. We're not
So
half a
yeah.
person.
Yeah, doing some major disclaimers here, but I just want to make sure that we say some
Yeah.
of those things.
Yes. Yes. And I appreciate that perspective and I wholeheartedly agree. I was not in any way trying to imply that like something missing means that like you were insufficient for that other person. But that is a
Yeah.
really common feeling when you've been betrayed of like that shame narrative is like I wasn't enough and
Hmm.
that's why this person had to leave. And when I say something's missing, I'm not saying that you were not enough if you were a betrayed person or know a betrayed person, but rather there was some unmet need in that
Hmm.
person's life that led to those choices.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for doing all of that with me.
Oh, of course. I love those points brought up. So, because in this song we're hearing the perspective of the person who is doing the quote unquote cheating, you say, you taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. And it makes me wonder what truth this relationship revealed about you. Like, if there is a language that you long to speak, that you can't do it in any other context, maybe we should explore where you need to start embracing what is true for you, even if it doesn't involve this person you're doing this thing with, right?
Hmm.
Because there is clearly something that is unique and exclusive to this, that you're experiencing exclusively and uniquely to this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it can only exist in that context. Like, how could we explore meeting this need in other contexts as well? Because it's revealing something about what you want. It's revealing something about your needs. So let's find ways to do that in a healthy, constructive way that's going to improve your life.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Anything you would encourage?
I think that this person is already telling the truth in a lot of ways. I think they're already naming the push and pull and tension of this relationship, the highs and the lows. And I appreciate their ability to name both of those dynamics. They're not trying to sugarcoat it and only portray it in one way. And they're not trying to only talk about the negatives, like they're telling the full story there. You clearly are having feelings of love or attraction, and you want this quote unquote drug to last, but you're also angry at this person for ruining you. So I want to keep going, and I want to encourage this person to keep going in their narrative. So you say, that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and stolen stairs. They show their truth one single time, but they lie, and they lie. So let's explore, what are the lies? Where have you felt deceived? Where were you deceived? Like, where did this person maybe lie to you? Or where are you self-deceiving? And what are the truths that you need to practice embracing, confronting, and living out? Like, that's my encouragement. Like, the truth is the way out of this. And so my encouragement is to like keep practicing what you're already practicing. Like, you're on the right road of telling the truth. Don't stop. Let's get really specific.
Mm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love that you're putting that out there because it is really important to actually like name what's going on and be
Yeah.
specific about it. That's really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The specificity, I think, is a valuable component of therapy where like you can't just give platitudes of like, oh, this wasn't okay because clearly it wasn't okay. It's like, no, what made it not okay for you? Like, what were your values? What were your truths? What are your desires? Like, it has to be specific.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Anything else you wanted to say about this song?
Ashley, this has been such a fun discussion and such a fun song to like unpack with you and get your perspective of how you would approach this in therapy. And I just wanted to offer just like a feeling that I had as you were giving your perspective, which was so gentle. Like,
Hmm.
you, like, I think, affairs are a very triggering topic and they can be inflammatory and they can bring up big emotions. And so there's judgment, right? There's a lot of judgment for people who choose to have affairs or find themselves in that situation. And I just like, there was not an ounce of judgment. You just had so much tenderness and gentleness and the way that you approached this client. And I felt that just interviewing you. And so I just wanted to tell you, like, it's been a delight. And I think you handled it really well.
Oh, Katie. Wow. Thanks.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Let's
Different song. Let's do it again.
let's keep doing this. That's fun. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining us on
Sounds
this
good.
episode on illicit affairs. If you want to follow us, our Instagram is Therape Podcast. If you want to request a song, it's therapepodcast@gmail.com. And thank you, Jeremy, so much for all of the editing that you do for us. We appreciate you so much. Have a great day, everybody.